Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Boost Podcast here on the BoostPad channel. Today we have a very special show, our third episode, number three on the line. Here with me to talk about video games is Guillermo. Guillermo, say something.
Oh, what's up? I thought you were gonna say both of our names. Sorry.
No, that's fine. And then Anthony here.
Hello.
So, Anthony, you're gonna tell us why we haven't seen anything on this
Yeah,
channel.
okay. So, what kind of happened was that my microphone started bugging out and wasn't really working correctly for a little while. So, I had to get a new one, and that's why you didn't really see any Boost podcasts or any Play with Plus episodes. So, from now on, since I have a new microphone that's actually a lot better quality than my old one, we should start seeing a lot more of those.
We'll see a lot more, hopefully, as well. Get some new types of content out there as well. But never mind that. Here we have topic number one, and it's a topic that a lot of people don't like to say are really games, and those are the mobile games. Which ones are the best? Which ones are the worst? Do we even like them? Is the question.
Okay, so
So,
you want to start, Chris? Do you have any opinions
so
to get out there?
to get out there, to get out of the way, I don't think free to play is bad. But the games that do come out for free to play are pretty bad. Like the model itself is not bad. The games that do come out are somewhat like they get me aggravated with it. I'm like, well, why do I have to wait like 5 minutes to do this? But then you realize that it's a marketing strategy, and you're like, I would have paid you already if I could just play the game the way I want to play it. Other than that, mobile games are pretty fun. Angry Birds. What else do we have? Clash of Clans.
Flappy Bird?
Flappy
I thought you were gonna say that.
Flappy Bird. The long rumored Flappy Bird. The return of Flappy Bird.
Please don't.
No, please
No,
don't do it.
No.
no, because the guy's gonna make $50,000 again, and he's gonna be like, no, I'm out again.
$50,000 a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So personally, for myself, I agree a lot with what you were saying, Chris. That I don't mind the model entirely. The free to play model is basically what people kind of hate to say that they would agree with because it's the whole idea of microtransactions. However, I think when it's done correctly, that's fine. For example, I like to play Pokemon Shuffle a lot since it came to 3DS. I had been playing it basically since it came there, but it recently came out on mobile as well on the iPhone and on Android and everything. And I've been playing it on there as well, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's another one of those like match 3 type of games, but it's not as shove it in your face and annoying as Candy Crush. But and maybe that's just because I know Pokemon and I like Pokemon.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But at the
how
same
much
time,
is that because
it,
of Pokemon?
it's a lot more deep than Candy Crush is, though. As far as I can tell, I don't really know a whole ton about Candy Crush, but at least Pokemon Shuffle has the whole type advantage deal in it. It has catching Pokemon, so when you defeat one, which each stage is basically a Pokemon that you have to defeat, and then you can catch them at the end. And if you catch them, you can add them to your little party or whatever. So the little things that you're connecting aren't just random icons; they're your Pokemon. So if you match 4 Water type Pokemon against like you're facing a Fire type, then it's going to do better than if you were to match Grass type Pokemon. So
Mm,
it's a lot more deep than the average, match 3 game.
match.
But I think that it's both fun and it's not entirely intrusive either. The only ads that pop up on there are ads for other Pokemon related stuff. So like you'll see an ad for the new Pokemon trading card game. So you can kind of go into that if you're into Pokemon already. They'll assume that you might want to deal with that.
Hmm.
So I think that that type of advertising is fine. I don't like something as blatantly like placed just because they want to make money off of it. Kind of like if you've ever played any of the um, what are those games? There are games that you play like okay, for example, Sonic Dash, right? That game has a
Yeah.
lot of advertising. I think they also kind of do it right in terms that you can choose to view an ad and you'll get like an extra revive or something if you fail,
Yeah.
or you can watch it to get some free coins or whatever. But they don't really force you to see one. There's a little ad that pops up every time you die, but it's really small and it's not like you have to wait 10 seconds for the ad to go away. It's just there, right?
Oh, okay.
So I think that they do it right. But then you go to something kind of like, what is this game? I'm blanking on the name of the game, but there was this game that was kind of like a MOBA or something, or like one of those like top-down strategy games that came out a while ago. Clash of Clans, I think. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if this is how it is, but this is how it was described to me because I haven't actually played the game before. But it's that thing where every time you boot up the game, there's a huge ad, right, on the front
Oh,
screen.
really?
And that type of thing. I'm not sure if it's Clash of Clans. That's just the name that's popping up in my head. But I have friends that like who used to like to play on their phones a lot, play all these mobile games, and they would describe to me that the advertisements would just be super annoying, right? So that's the type of thing that I don't really like about mobile gaming because it's kind of turned it into more of a like money grab, something that's just used kind of as a cheap way to make advertising money. But sometimes you do get games out of there that are very fun. Sometimes they don't abuse the system, and I think that that's all right. I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, this is my personal opinion, but I don't really like mobile gaming that much in terms of actual games. I've tried to look up games on my phone and see are there any cool like RPGs or any cool like platformers on the phone that I could play, and I don't like any of them. And maybe that's just a testament to who's making the games, but I just don't enjoy playing those on my phone. I don't enjoy playing it on touchscreen. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Guillermo, you want to put any thoughts here before we or I continue talking about mobile games?
About what I think about mobile games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh well, I enjoy some mobile games, but like you were saying about the free to play, like if they're done right, then I'll enjoy it. But if they're not, then it's just an advertisement app, basically.
And you just delete it off the thing.
Yeah, and then you just delete it immediately because you just don't enjoy playing it.
Yeah, and
But I was thinking like of what like Matt, if you saw the from now like the most recent game theory that was released, Matt Pat, he was talking about how MMOs are like evolving into the mobile game now.
Yeah.
Because it's like I guess it's just how he says that they're gonna evolve into mobile gaming, and I think it's true what he's saying, and like Clash of Clans are like one that I used to play a lot. Boom Beach, like they do them very well, but then there's other games like he said, like the Star Wars game. I don't know this.
Star Wars Old
Yeah, the
Republic.
Star Wars online game where
Yeah.
they thought it was gonna be the next big thing, but then it wasn't. But then there are like all these games that are on mobile that are doing so much better now. Like they're on mobile. If they, I assume that they would do better on mobile than they would like on PC or something.
because they reach a larger audience sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, going back to the whole like free to play model, like the only thing that kind of separates that from normal games is not necessarily that you have all the advertisements and stuff. Not only that, but also the fact that the whole idea that it's free, even though there's a ton of content you could actually pay for with real money. Like a lot of the times, people complain when things are pay to win, and they prefer things to be cosmetic, right? They're like, if you're gonna have to pay for something, I just want it to make it how I look, not something that'll help me win. But at the same time, when people make games and then they hide things behind paywalls, even if it's just cosmetic, people get upset. So there's not really a way to please everybody with a free to play model. But I do think that it isn't flawed. I think it can work, and I think it has worked probably in a couple of instances.
No, I feel that I always like mobile games when it's, and I can't remember of a recent memory, but I wish they would make it where it's like I would play a mobile game and watch ads if it was working towards something I like doing in general. So I'm gonna throw this out there, Bungie, please listen. Make a mobile game where I can get materials for my Destiny character, and I would play it even if it was like get 5 spin metal. You would do it because you're like, well, I'm progressing through what I already like. So
Okay.
so
For that point, that is kind of what NetherRealm does with their apps. For their Injustice app and for their Mortal Kombat app, they connect to the main games that are on your console, and they unlock costumes. So if you play through the first couple of towers in the Mortal Kombat app, you unlock a costume for a couple different people. I think there's like 2 costumes, one for like Johnny Cage and one for like Melina or something like that. and you just unlock them. The only way to unlock them, other than buying like the combat pass, which is the season pass, which we talked about last week, and the only other way to get it is in order to, or you have to play through the app. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, you get rewarded in kind of the bigger sense of a game. So you have the little mobile game, which is what you take with you, which is what you do when you're bored, when you're sitting down, you're in a long car ride or something, not driving, but when you're sitting in the passenger seat.
Don't drive and play Mortal Kombat. Don't do that.
Don't text and drive. Nope. And you're just you have nothing better to do, right? You're on your phone, and that's not to say, well, if this is the last thing I have to do, I guess I'll do it. But just like that's just when you have free time that you're not going to be playing the game on your console, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that works. That's an example of mobile gaming that I think is good. Now, personally, I don't really like those apps because I feel like they are a little bit shallow. They are deeper than I originally thought they were. I thought it was just tap and swipe, but it also has like timing. Specifically the Mortal Kombat one, that was a lot more advanced than the Injustice one. The Injustice one literally was just swiping and tapping repeatedly, and you would always win. But
yeah, until you hit the paywall, and then it's like, hey, shell out money or grind this out until you get a gold character or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that some games can work. For the Mortal Kombat one, it did work, I think. It was a little bit more fleshed out. It was a little bit more like the actual Mortal Kombat game, where there was not necessarily like inputs that you could do to do certain moves or whatever, but there were a couple of different buttons on the side that you could use to do special moves. There was a couple of different, motions you could do to do different kinds of things, and it felt more like a game. I enjoyed it. I just deleted it off my phone because I have no space on my phone, so every time I want to get a new app, I have to delete an old one. So that's the reason why I don't have that anymore. But I thought I enjoyed it the time that I had.
Well, we're gonna have to make space because Pokemon Go, my goodness, that's gonna be amazing.
That was a very good segue, Chris.
It was. You see, killer, man. You see, getting better at these things. Okay.
Pokemon Go, that's exciting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it's also very frightening because then you're gonna have people lost at sea trying to look for that super rare Lapras or Lugia.
People are just gonna walk into the ocean while on their phones and not even realize.
Yep.
It could be dangerous. I hope that they don't go the route of legitimately putting them exactly where they would be geographically, because then that would be insane. You have to go to a volcano to get Moltres. I'm not going to a volcano.
Well, I mean, maybe it's like you have to go to Hawaii or something again.
You see, the thing about that is I don't think they're actually going to do it necessarily like that. I think they're going to do, and I've heard this, I believe, somewhere else, some of these ideas about what I'm going to say. But what I believe they're going to do is the average Pokemon, the field Pokemon, let's say, like the Rattatas, the Pikachus, the Pidgeys, maybe even the starters, maybe those will show up pretty much everywhere. So basically they'll go like, all right, here is the state of California or the state of Illinois or the state of Maine, right? And they'll say, in each state you can catch the same Pokemon. But in the Midwest, you can also catch Snorlaxes. In the East, you can also catch, Eevees, something like that. Although Eevee, I think, would be one that would be everywhere. But, that type of thing. Yeah. The only times where I feel like they will restrict it to you can't really get this type of Pokemon unless you go to a very specific area would be maybe the legendaries. But then I don't think it would be that crazy. I think it would be like, if you're in Hawaii, yeah, you could get a Moltres, but if you also want to get a Moltres, you can just wait for a very specific promotional day, and then you just have to go to like a big city. And then, you in the trailer for Pokemon Go, they had the Mewtwo, right? That was in the middle of New York. Yeah. I feel like that would be that type of thing. So like for us, we could go downtown Chicago, right? And then it could be like, all right, they have Mew, they have Moltres, they have Articuno. Go to downtown Chicago where there's a hugely populated area, so you could do that. So you have the opportunity to get this legendary Pokemon where you don't have to go to crazy lengths to try and get it. I think that's kind of what they would do. Yeah. And also, I hope that there is actual evolving in there. Because a lot of these like Pokemon games, the ones that come out for like mobile and stuff like Pokemon Rumble, or not even for mobile, for like 3DS and everything. Like Pokemon Rumble and Pokemon Shuffle and all that stuff. You can't evolve your Pokemon. If you want to get a Raichu, you got to get a completely new Raichu. You can't evolve your Pikachu into it, you know. So I hope there's evolution in there. That would be cool.
So can you guys explain to me do you have to have that wristband that they showed off? Do you have to have that, or can I just download it on my phone?
No, you don't have to have it.
I don't think so. Yeah.
You're right? Yeah.
I believe the way that they described it was a companion, like wearable tech, where it's your phone can be in your pocket and you cannot be on the app, and then the wristband will start like vibrating or beeping or whatever. I don't really remember when you're near a Pokemon. So,
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you could turn it off, right? Because
It's
you don't want to
vibrating all
be,
day.
yeah, you don't want it to be vibrating everywhere you go. So, yeah, but the only problem with it, and it's the same problem I had with the Pokewalker when that came out for like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, is that it kind of looks a little tacky. If they kind of, masked it and didn't look like it was a Pokemon related, thing, then I might wear it around. If it was like a little wristband, just like a black little wristband with like red lines on it, then
Yeah.
I would be like, I wouldn't mind wearing this in public.
You gotta wear it loud and proud, man.
But if there's a little
Show you love it.
there's a little Pokeball thing hanging off of it, I'm not gonna probably wear that, to school. So
You got to show people, hey, I'm not scared. I do Pokemon all the time. I have the 3DS version, I have the Game Boy, and then they're just laughing, and then they walk away.
yeah,
Or they're cool and they're like, "Hey, so do I, man. You want to be friends?"
you go to anyone and I don't even know where this double standard came from, but you go to anyone and you're like, hey man, I got Pokemon on my phone, and you have like an emulator and you're playing Emerald, to be like, oh, that's awesome. But then you go to them and be like, I got Pokemon on my 3DS, they'd be like, what, are you a nerd? It's like, it's the same game.
Yeah, you're just like, what the heck?
Well, I don't know. People, I think they feel it's more casual if you have it on your phone.
Yeah,
You know,
probably.
go out and buy a 3DS.
Yeah.
It looks, and then you don't look like a weirdo with like two screens on the same thing. You're like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
like that's the only problem I have with like the 3DS in general is, and even like, I really want to get a Vita now because the Vita is really awesome, and I've been thinking of getting one. But even the Vita, even though it doesn't look as ridiculous as like a 2-screen thing that you have to like flip open, it doesn't really look that normal to be playing with that or to be carrying that around in public. So that's the weird thing. I don't mind it, and I play my 3DS or whatever all the time at my house, and even in the in the car or when I'm at some place that I'm bored, but I don't usually pull it out in public, right?
Yeah,
But that's weird.
yeah,
'Cause
there's
that's
something
kind of
weird
what
about
it's
that.
meant for.
Yeah, because when I had my PSP, the same thing. Like, people were like, hey, back then, I don't think people had their phones and stuff, but you couldn't pull those things out. Like, I would go in the bus, and I like there was one time where I brought my PSP on the bus, and then people were just looking at me, and I'm like, well, are we not doing this? Is not cool? Okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But it's just that weird thing of, hey, this isn't accepted because it's not traditional. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of why mobile gaming is becoming such a big thing, because that is socially acceptable. If you're playing a game on your phone, you're not looked at as, some kind of weirdo. You're just looked at as a normal person who has a cell phone, because everybody has a cell phone, and everybody has a 3DS. It's a lot more normal, a lot more accepted to be playing, swiping your fingers up and down on your phone, even though you might look like a weirdo. People won't really think you are one. They'll just be like, oh, I'm just playing a game, right? So it's like, I think that's kind of also adding to the whole fact that mobile gaming is becoming such a big thing for casual games specifically, because it's just becoming more normal, which is weird to say.
It's weird because you still have the people who don't understand console gaming, but then you're like, hey, there's a new Angry Birds, and they'll just go and download it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Angry Birds is not a bad game, but when you charge $100 for a PS4 version of Angry Birds, that is ridiculous. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't see this. What happened?
It's like Angry Birds Star Wars or whatever, and it's like $100 on the PS4, like PlayStation Store.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Who? Oh my god.
I think it's like a collection of like 3 different like versions or something.
My god.
Yeah.
But they're basically pricing it at $30, right?
Yeah, I think
for
so.
each game. So that I think that's kind of ridiculous. And so even though that seems like it's a really high price, what is the price that you would think would be reasonable for a mobile game? Because if they're going to start evolving to become more real games where they can actually be immersive and they can actually take up your time and you have like effort put into it, really, what do you think you would pay? Because I don't pay for mobile games.
It's weird. It's the same thing where you go to the store and you're like, it's gonna be $1 for this piece of candy. You're like, oh, here you go. But then it's like $1 for an app. You're like, no, I'm not gonna pay $1 for the app. That's weird. That's not cool. I think the reasonable price is what we have right now for indies. Like, if I could play Shovel Knight ish on my phone for $10, $15, I would do that. That's completely worth it.
You
Now that
see,
now we get into the thing where people start scamming, where it's like, hey, $15 for this cool new experience, and then it's like this copy and paste, this Sonic boring game.
are you
Then
calling Sonic a boring game?
no, I'm calling these people, or that are like putting the ports out, even though I
Okay.
don't think Sonic is not a good game, but that's my opinion.
Yes, you're entitled to have your own wrong opinions, Chris. Don't worry about it. But I kind of agree, but at the same time I disagree in that even though people are putting out, trash a lot of the times, that happens with normal games as well. That's not limited just to mobile gaming. People will put out super like bad indie games, or even specifically something that's kind of a big deal right now is all that Kickstarter stuff where people put something on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something, a video game, and then people will fund it. People will give it a ton of money, and then it's not very good, or not necessarily that it's not very good, but just that it's not what people asked for. It's not for what people gave them money for, and then people get all upset, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's a scam. Like if you've ever seen, and I hate this a lot of the times, people will say they're going to make games. They'll put early access versions of their game up, which is basically like a pre-alpha or an alpha on Steam, and then make you pay $10 for it and say, you're only paying $10 now and you're supporting us, and then when the full game comes out for like $40, you get to keep it for the price that you paid. And then so it sounds like a good deal, but then I always come back to this very specific example. Now, to my knowledge, this game still has not been regarded since the last time I checked, but there's this game called like Castle Story or something on Steam, and it looked really cool and I really liked it. It was like a tower defense / like Minecraft type thing where you built your tower up like Minecraft style.
Yeah.
And then at night you had to defend it from a bunch of
creepers, right?
Well, from a bunch of enemies that were coming at night. And it was really cool. It was like a combination of the two different genres, and I really liked it. And I was thinking of like buying the early access version, but then I looked up some reviews and it was like, this game has been at the same update for a year and a half. They have not worked on this game at all.
Wow.
That they're never even going to come back to this. Like, or so it seems anyways. Like, to my knowledge, they still have not gone back to it, but I haven't checked in a while, to be fair. But I doubt that anything's changed. So, that goes back to the whole free-to-play thing. It works, again, in terms of you're able to try something out before you pay anything for it. So if you don't like it, then you don't have to do anything. Hearthstone has done a real good job with that. Hearthstone's free,
yeah.
right? But then you can buy cards, you can buy packs, you can put real money into it if you really enjoy it, and a lot of people do. And the same thing goes for like Madden and FIFA and all those games that have card packs. You can buy cards to build up your teams. Right?
Yeah, I don't mind the card packs. What I do mind is when they do the really like scarce currency where it's like gems or diamonds and all this other stuff. That's when I'm like, and then you can't earn it in the game. That's where I'm like, I draw the line.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's where I actually bring it all full circle with Pokemon Shuffle. I got a little bit disappointed with the mobile version because on the 3DS version, I was getting gems all the time. I would get a gem for beating every like boss, like every mega evolution, which was like every like 10 to 20 levels. And you would get a gem. So at one point I had like 5 gems stacked up. So I used them to buy like 30 hearts. So I didn't have to wait like the 20 or the 30 minutes in between each heart to refill, right? So I bought like 30 hearts. So I was able to play the game for like an hour instead of like 15 minutes at a time. And then I was like, that works. This is good. This is a good way to do it. You're giving people these things that you would normally pay like 99 cents to get like 10 of them or whatever. You're giving them to people for free if they just play through the game and grind it out. But then on the mobile version, I'm about halfway to where I was on the 3DS version at this point, and I only have had one gem the entire time. I haven't gotten any other ones.
Oh wow.
They changed it where you can't get them anymore. I don't know if they changed it on the 3DS version as well. Maybe they were thinking, whoa, these are, giving them way too many. They're not actually paying for them. So then they like scaled it back, which might have happened. But from when I played it, it was giving me a bunch of gems all the time. Well, not a ton, but like every like 10 levels.
A respectable amount.
Yeah, like I if I wanted some, I would just have to know, okay, I can just spend a couple days grinding it out and I'll get another one. But now it's like I don't think I've gotten any other ones except for the first one they give you at the beginning. So, that's at the same time something that they kind of have to do to make money off of it,
Yeah, these things aren't. You don't make them for free. You have to make money. I mean, it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
Guillermo, do you want to chime in? You haven't really said much this whole time.
I know, but well, like, are we gonna go back to the Pokemon Go thing?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, it's fine. I was gonna go back to Pokemon Go because I was like, I want to hear more about this.
Well, I haven't really read much about the Pokemon Go thing, but I think the concept of what it is pretty awesome to me because I've played Pokemon my whole life, and just going out like everywhere, like when I'm out anywhere, I can just find a random Pokemon. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm a child again,
You're a little kid.
going out and becoming a Pokemon master, except I'm not 10 years old forever like Ash.
Where he's.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately.
Is that really what happened? He's stuck.
I
He's
don't
stuck
know.
at 10 years old,
It's
man.
so
I don't
weird.
know. It's
Like,
weird. It's weird.
He was
Let's
10,
not go into
he
that.
was 10
Let's-
for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he looks like he's 12 or 13 or 14. He's growing up. And then
But
it
now
looks
he's
like,
10.
oh, here's your 1 year anniversary with Pikachu. And that was like really long ago. That was like 15 years ago that happened.
Mhm.
And then it was like, okay, so he's like probably like 14, 15 right now. And then a couple years ago at the beginning of like one of the new seasons of the TV
think it was
show.
Black and
it's
White.
like, yeah, at the beginning of the Black and White series, it's like, 10-year-old Ash Ketchum wakes up this morning. It's like, he's still 10, really?
I know.
So good.
Okay. That's another topic for another day.
Yeah, how
We
old
talk-
is he?
Yeah.
Speculation.
Okay.
This whole time.
Oh, theories and theories.